it's really, really important that the dancer is actually able to do the work and make ballet fit to their physical body. It's really important to protect your body based on the technique. And there is a way to do that, and there is a way to work with the physique that you have, whether you're tall or small or a little more heavy set. There is a compassionate way to work with your body so that it does and can do ballet beautifully. And a lot of people don't know that the Russians actually will test the hip joints. They'll test the flexibility of the dancer and then make a judgment on whether they're a good applicant for dance. Whereas here in America, that could be very dangerous to take a program, because we don't do that. We just let you in a program and you get to take dance if you want to. And so it's a different kind of training. And so we just want to make sure that your dancer is safe, that you're educated on the ins and outs in dance. We want to see dancers thrive, not just in the studio, but out. My goal as an educator is to be able to run without pain when I'm 80. And maybe that's a lofty goal, but I absolutely value my physique and my body, and I want my dancers to as well. Okay, so let's get into the technical aspects of it. So we were naturally born so that when we bend our knees go forward, okay? That is, for most of us, that's what is true. Sometimes we have different body types, like knock knees and things that are different. But for the most part, for 95% of people or maybe more, when you bend your knees, they go straight forward, and that is safe, okay? Now, when we're looking at turnout, your turnout comes from the very backs of your legs. The muscles attach at the hip in the back, and they attach on the side of the rotator, and they're underneath the glutes, they're underneath all of your larger muscles. And so when you rotate, you're actually rotating from the back of the leg. But what tends to happen is dancers will try to get a really strong first, and they'll actually take it from the knees and the ankles. It can be very damaging on the knees, okay? So dancers, when they're very young, we start them all parallel for a while. Maybe first a little bit. It's very gentle in the early years, but even if they're a teenager or an adult, it's really important to honor the turnout and rotation that you have. Also, something that's really important that we see is that the hips are aligned, okay? So we think of the hips as forward this way. Now, when we walk, our gait goes like this. The hips are doing this side to side, just a little bit, okay? For dance, for ballet, everything is square. The hips stay really square so that I can find my balance, lift the leg. As soon as I turn my leg and lift the leg, I torque my knee, okay? And there are a couple frames of reference for this. So when I take my point to the front, this has got to be right in front of me so that when I land a jump, I'm landing perfectly every single time. And that's how dancers are able to create careers where they land safely. When I go back, the leg goes right behind the hip, and that's the safest place. If I were to take it out to the side and leave it out there and I landed a jump, I could pull something in my hip here, okay? So that would be dangerous. So they have to learn that it comes right behind the hip. And then all seconde is the most challenging in terms of the dancer's physique, because some people have a lot of turnout, some people have very little. And the truth is, most of us have about 45 degrees. Most dancers have about 60 degrees in their hips and to rotate. Okay, so dancers have a little bit more because they've developed that strength. Okay, now let's look at the hip. Okay, so let's take a look at the hips. So the knees are going out directly over the toes. If you go to the side here, my weight's not in the heels. Okay, see how my hips are back? The alignment has to be correct, so I'm feeling the back of the legs do the work. The knees go out to the side, and as I start to notice how my knees are right over my toes. This is what we're aiming for, is that the knees are over the toes. This is what's going to be safe long term, okay? What tends to happen is as we do this, notice how, I don't know if you can see this, but Notice how if I open my first, see how my knees are going kind of this, they're going this way, and my foot is going this way. Okay, now if I were to land and jump from that, okay, I could really hurt myself. Also, when I come up out of it, okay, out of a stretch like that with my knee in a different direction than my, right? If I'm here, I can't see because of my black, but if I come up out of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to overstretch the ligaments on the side of the knee here. Okay, I'm going to over tight the IT band. Okay, and what that does is that the ligaments in the knee, they don't get ligaments and tendons in general don't get a lot of blood flow. So if you have an injury, they're very slow to heal. And once you overstretch them, they don't go back. So you can only strengthen the muscles around the knee joint when you injure it. So it's really important, again, not to injure that. Also, when we're going to Olasakhan, say I go to Olasakhan, now the Russian technique has you go directly to the side. Okay, this is my early training, but it's really difficult. Do you see how my leg's not really turned out? So in order to turn out, so these are my hips, okay? They should be directly forward, okay? Even just like being able to lift and balance. Now, in order to turn the leg out, I have to see how I have to turn my hips in order to get the rotation of that leg and that pretty line. Okay, but if I were to come down on a jump, look at my knee. My knee is going this diagonal and my foot is going this one. I could really damage my knee, okay? I'm also going to not have the balance that you wouldn't have the balance. So initially, all of my slow adage work was terrible because I could jump really easily and I could turn easily, but I couldn't balance on my leg to do all the beautiful hard things because I didn't have the control from the back of the leg, okay? And so this is the pitfalls of training your body to fit ballet, okay, as opposed to seeing, okay, ballet will fit my body, okay? So I'm going to slide to the front here, and notice how if I follow the line of the foot, and I'm going to relax here and rotate, relax here in the hip, and I'm going to gently rotate. Notice how I get this beautiful line. Notice how this standing leg is really, really strong and straight and balanced. And this is what's most important, because if I take this leg up over my head, I do not want this leg to fall out from underneath me. Okay, I've seen it, it's not fun. Okay, so we want to see dancers thrive, not just in the studio, but out. It's really, really important that the dancer is actually able to do the work and make ballet fit to their physical body.